Hi guys, it's Emmanuel Edu Sapon right here on PC Companion, and I bring you another informative video today. Today we are actually going to look at Microsoft Word and specifically inserting tables in Microsoft Word. Okay, so there are different ways we can insert tables in Microsoft Word, and we are going to take each of these ways and then make some simple tables with them. Now, to the basic things of tables. We know that tables are made of rows and columns. So when we talk about rows, the rows are the horizontal spaces we have to get when we are creating tables, and the columns are the vertical spaces. So here I have one column. I now have two columns. Now I have one row. I have two rows. I have three rows. So it's through these rows and columns that we are able to create tables. And as you can see, I have three rows, and at the same time I have 9 columns. Yeah, so here I have about 27 cells because I have 9 columns with 3 rows, and these columns and rows intersect for me to get my cells. So let's start from the beginning once again. To get to inserting tables, we have to go to the insert menu. Now when we get to the insert menu, we can see tables, and we click on the drop down arrow there. Now when we get there, as I said, there are different ways to draw a table in Microsoft Word, and the first one is what I actually just did. So it's just by hovering your mouse on top of those boxes, and you select the number of rows and columns you want to make up your table. So here I want to go with 4 columns with 6 rows. Now when I get to the number of rows and columns I want, I just click and this box goes away. So now I've created my table. I have 4 columns and 6 rows. Column 1, column 2, column 3, and column 4. Okay, so these are my 4 columns, and I'm going to create another table using a different approach. So this is the first approach by hovering on top of those boxes. Now let's go to the second approach. Let's go to tables once again at the insert menu. Now this time we are not going to hover on top of the boxes there. We are going to click insert table. Okay, so when you click insert table, we can now come and then specify the number of columns and rows we need. So this time I'm going to go with 2 columns and then 6 rows. Okay, so what I need is my column and my rows. Then I click OK. Now I have my 2 columns, and I also have my 6 rows. So this is the second approach, and forgive me if I'm moving fast. I just want to prevent this video from being too long because these things are very simple. So let's go to the next approach. Now instead of going to the insert table, we are going to draw our table. Okay, so when we click on draw table, we are going to get a pencil like tool, or let me just say a pencil. It's actually a pencil. Yeah, so we are going to use the pencil or pen, whatever we want to call it. So that's what we are going to use to draw our table. Now we get a starting point, we click and hold, then we drag. Okay, when you drag to create your first row. When you get to where you want to end, then you release your left click. Okay, so we've created the first row. Now we can create another row by going to the start, by going to this point and then click and hold again. That's left click and hold. Now we drag again, we get to our stopping point, then we release. So we now have our second row. This time we are just going to create 2 rows with 5 columns. Okay, so I now have my 2 rows. We now have to divide each row into columns. So I'll start my first column here and I'll go from top to down, just as we did with the rows. You go to where you want to start drawing your line, then you drag to where you want to end. So this is my first column that I've created. So now I have 2 columns. I'm going to further divide the bigger column into other columns to get my 5 columns. So I do it again. This is 3 columns. I do it again. I now have my 4th column, and this makes the columns 5. Okay, so this is the third approach to inserting table into Microsoft Word. Now we are going to move to the next method of inserting a table in Microsoft Word, and we are going to look at Excel spreadsheet, how to insert an Excel spreadsheet as a table in Microsoft Word. Now when I click on Excel spreadsheet, I then wait for it to load, and here is it. So you don't bother yourself with the number of rows and columns for now. Even though we have inserted these tables, we can still come back to format them. Yeah, so let's just put these ones here. So after inserting it, you just click anywhere on your page and it's going to turn normal, just like this. So we are going to go to our next method of inserting a table. And here we will look at quick tables. Actually, quick tables are template tables, some of which are calendars and other template tables that you may need to quickly put into your work. Okay, so I want to put in this calendar. Just click on it, and then my quick table has been inserted. I can add any number of rows or columns I want to add. Okay, so it's just like a normal table, but this is just a template table. And in our next video, we are going to look at how to format these tables. As you can see, when we look at the menu bar, we can see that anytime we add a table, 2 different menus are added to our already existing menus. Okay, so first we were having the file, the home, insert, design, layout, references, mailings, review, view, and help menus. But since we've added tables, Microsoft has given us 2 more menus so that we can format these tables according to our liking. So in our next video, we are going to look at all these formattings. Thank you for joining, and see you in our next video.